right now. Here's a scary one. The average age of first exposure to pornography in the United States for a male is now age 5. The surveys of both boys and girls, it is an average age of 8. And the internet has brought this to our children, and so it's something to be very aware of. Sex is the language of our culture. For those of us who grew up in the 60s and 70s, music was the language of our culture. It didn't matter how bad your message was, if you got your message into the right song, you got your message out there. Well, today, sex is the language of our culture. It's in our advertising, character names on television, all kinds of areas of our life that it permeates. Now, in terms of the role of peer counseling in these dimensions, it's critically important that we deal with this as a multi-dimensional problem. So when we look at each of these dimensions, what we want to do here is look at, well, how can we impact people in your setting? Well, in a spiritual dimension, in working with that, just connecting with God in a safe community and in a safe relationship. When you're working with someone who's coming with sexual integrity or sexual addiction issues, they need to have a safe place to be honest and to connect. And when that's a spiritual context, that can prove to be very healing as well. Prayer and meditation have a powerful impact on the heart. Even physiologically, we can now see through brain imaging the impact they have on the brain and how much better the prefrontal cortex functions during times of prayer and meditation. It actually gets better blood flow. We can see it in SPECT brain imaging. The concept of a power greater than yourself, really being able to seek God and to have a safe community in a spiritual setting where they can be honest and where they can address these issues and to know that somebody's not going to use it to blacklist them. The emotional dimension for people who are doing peer counseling or peer support, just providing emotional support. The recovery journey is traumatic. It's difficult. It is not a bed of roses. It is a process with a lot of hope, but it's not one that's going to be easy by any means. And so there's a need for a lot of emotional support, especially in those early days. Just good listening, being able to understand where people are coming from. You don't have to agree with someone to understand them. But just the encouragement to stick with it. Because there's a point where people want to give it up and quit. And, at those points, they're typically just tired and worn out because it's a lot of work, especially in those first, I'd say, 6 months to 2 years. But just encouraging them to stick with it. As they're going through a therapeutic process, they're going to be looking at wounds. They're going to be looking at their past traumas. Well, just really coming alongside them and providing the emotional support while they are dealing with those traumas. When it comes to facing those wounds, I can tell you that the 2 most comforting words in the entire English language are me too. Me too. I understand. I've experienced